It's a direct question, sir. Do you believe that Vice President Kamala Harris is a DEI hire, as some Republicans
really don't
have
know.
said?
I mean, I really don't know. Could be.
Some big companies are literally erasing diversity, equity, and inclusion, or DEI.
GM, Pepsi, Disney, and others have scrubbed some or all of those words from their annual reports to investors.
NPR business correspondent Maria Aspen is the first to report this. Maria, tell us what you found.
Hey, good morning. So as you know, we've been seeing some big companies announcing for months that they're ending or changing their DEI programs. They include Walmart, Target, Amazon, and just this week, Google told employees that it's ending its hiring targets for underrepresented workers. But what I discovered this week is that many more big companies are backing away from the language of DEI without making a big announcement. I went digging into the new annual reports that companies have been publishing for their investors, and I compared them with what they were saying a year ago. And I found that this year, at least a dozen big companies have all deleted or softened the language they use to talk about diversity. These companies include GM, Intel, Disney, Pepsi, and Chipotle. Now, some of these companies wouldn't talk about these changes with me, so we don't know for sure why they've done this. We just know that they've stopped talking about DEI in public. But some of the companies did give me some clues.
Ooh, all right. What did they tell you?
Well, there's a lot going on, but a few of these companies referred specifically to President Trump's new executive orders ending DEI in the federal government. These orders also threaten to sanction private companies that are federal contractors that have what Trump called illegal DEI programs. And Google, for example, is a federal contractor. A spokesperson this week told me that Google is evaluating the changes required by Trump's executive orders, and Google, I should note, is one of NPR's funders. Another company I talked to was 3M. It's that big conglomerate that makes Post-it notes and chemicals and a bunch of other stuff. It's also a federal contractor. 3M also deleted some references to diversity from its latest annual report, and a spokesperson specifically mentioned the executive orders when he talked to me.
Yeah, but not every company that's making these changes is a federal contractor. I mean, so what else is happening here?
So Trump's executive orders are definitely adding to the pressure, but corporate America was already facing a lot of pressure from critics of DEI who say that it is itself discriminatory. The bigger picture here is just that big companies are pretty risk averse. I talked about this with Becky Baker, who's an employment lawyer with Finson and Elkins. She says that DEI was a really popular buzzword in corporate America 5 years ago, but now it's kind of politically toxic.
We have seen companies start to decide that, the reward in doing so is not necessarily outweighed by the risk anymore.
So she's not surprised by the changes all of these companies are making, and she's expecting us to see a lot more.
So is this the end of DEI?
Yes and no. There are still some companies that are standing by their promises to pursue diversity, equity, and inclusion, and they're still talking about it using those words. For example, Costco said in its most recent annual report that promoting DEI is part of taking care of its employees. And meanwhile, some of the people doing this work tell me that they hope that most companies are going to continue making their workplaces more inclusive for all employees, even if they're not using words and phrases like DEI.
All right, that's NPR's Maria Aspen. Thanks a lot, Maria.
Thank you.
Okay, you've made it to Wednesday of this busy week, and the Trump administration has given a deadline of Thursday, tomorrow, for more than 2 million federal workers. They are invited to quit, to go on administrative leave and continue being paid through the end of September. Employees have to consider this amid allegations that the offer is not legal or a scam, to use the word of one Democratic lawmaker. Our colleague Andrea Hsu has some reporting on the NPR app. You can find it there, reporting that is helpfully clear about the lack of clarity. The administration has spoken in different ways about this proposal at different times. Randy Irwin is not a fan of the offer. He is president of the National Federation of Federal Employees, which represents some U.S. government workers, about 110,000 as a matter of fact. Mr. Irwin, welcome to the program.
Thanks for having me, Steve.
Okay, so this offer, we should note, excludes some federal employees. It excludes the military. It excludes Homeland Security, people who are busy deporting people right now. It excludes National Security. It excludes the Postal Service. So what are the things that people do who are affected? What do these 2 million people do?
Well, what you just described there is about over half the government already.
So you're talking about the remaining portion, but the biggest agency by far is the Department of Veterans Affairs. About 400,000 federal workers that care for the American veteran, nurses, doctors, people we represent. We wouldn't be able to make good on the promise we make to our folks in uniform that you're going to be cared for if it wasn't for those folks caring for our veterans. We got land management agencies like the Forest Service, Park Service, Bureau of Land Management. Federal workers care for our federal lands. It's a big job. They guarantee clean air, clean water, safe food, safe air travel, passports, you name it. And people really don't understand how important the services that federal workers provide are to the American way of life.
Okay, so veteran services, land management, park rangers we may have seen at a national park, EPA, Department of Transportation, consular services for people traveling abroad, a few examples of what the employees affected do. But then there's the question of people being offered what is not really a buyout, but is almost described as if it is. You get paid several months for not working and then you leave. Why advise your people not to take that offer?
Well, let me just be clear. Describing it as a scam is the correct way to describe it, and federal workers should not take that deal. It's a bad deal. They're not really getting anything that they wouldn't be getting otherwise just by the rights that they have. This administration and this proposal has made it sound like you're going to get a buyout and you're not going to have to work until September 30th. But the truth is there is no guarantee of that. Congress has not authorized it, and it is more than likely that folks are going to get stiffed on that.
Wait, you're saying people might quit at the end of February and think they're going to be paid for months, but actually they might say, we're laying you off as of March 1st. That's what you think will happen?
No, I think they're just not going to let them quit. Because the way that they have written the contract, it's not a guarantee that you won't have to work.
Oh, you're put on leave and you might be called back.
Right. There's no guarantee that you won't have to work.
Okay.
So what kind of deal is that if you're going to have to work to that resignation date anyway?
There is a threat now hanging over people that if enough people do not take the buyout, there will be reductions in force, layoffs,
Mm-hmm.
people will be fired. Is that a real risk for federal employees?
I think it's an exaggerated risk. I think that this administration is overplaying its hand. I think that they let people know ahead of time that they wanted to see a reduction in the federal workforce. But the kind of things that they have said they wanted, some 75% reduction in the federal workforce, cutting $2 trillion from the federal budget. That's what DOGE has been saying, is what their
Elon
goals
Musk,
are.
Right.
Those things are absolutely irresponsible, impossible types of things. If they did, we would have nothing. Our federal government would be unrecognizable, and the critical services that the American people rely on would be gone. Like the care of American veterans, we make a promise to people, and if we lost 75% of the VA workforce, we could not follow through on that promise.
This administration is advancing an idea of presidential power, that there is one executive, one elected official in the executive branch. The allegation is made that they're fairly hostile to the federal workforce, but their allegation is the federal workforce is hostile to us. They argue that the job of federal employees is to obey the president and not push back. He's elected, you're not. Do your members broadly accept that general framework as they go about their jobs under any administration?
That's a complicated question. Let's talk about federal employees being hostile. I mean, that is a ridiculous notion. It is only Donald Trump and his folks that have had that view. Both Republicans and Democrats in the White House haven't always necessarily been friends to federal workforce, but have always had respect for the incredible work that federal workers do.
Do they follow whatever the president says to do, and should they?
No, they should follow the law and uphold the Constitution. They swear enough to uphold the Constitution. That's what federal employees are there to do.
Randy Irwin is national president of the National Federation of Federal Employees. Thanks so much for your time. Really appreciate it.
Mr. President, you have today blamed the diversity elements, but then told us that you weren't sure that the controllers made any mistake. You then said perhaps the helicopter pilots were the ones who made the mistake.
It's all under investigation.
I understand that. That's why I'm trying to figure out how you can come to the conclusion right now that diversity had something to do with this crash.
Because I have common sense, okay? And unfortunately, a lot of people don't. We want brilliant people doing this. This is a major chess game at the highest level. When you have 60 planes coming in during a short period of time, and they're all coming in different directions, and you're dealing with very high-level computer work and very complex computers. And one of the other things I will tell you is that the systems that were built, I was going to rebuild the entire system, and then we had an election that didn't turn out the way it should have. But they didn't build the systems properly. They spent a lot of money renovating a system, spending much more money than they would have spent if they bought a new system for air traffic controllers, meaning the computerized systems.
An investigation is underway to learn how a helicopter collided last week with an American Airlines flight over Washington, D.C. The crash killed all 67 people on both aircraft. In the aftermath, the Trump administration and its officials have raised concerns over America's air traffic control system. Now, without directly linking it to the collision, Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy called the air traffic system antiquated. Here he is on Fox News Sunday.
A lot of the technology dates back to World War II. We developed the best technology in this country, but we don't implement it here.
With us is Margaret Wallace. She teaches air traffic control and airport management at the Florida Institute of Technology. So, Margaret, let's start by just putting all this into perspective. How many flights does the air traffic control system have to keep up with?
Well, there are about 10 million scheduled passenger flights every year.
10 million scheduled. Oh, that's a heck of a lot of flights to keep up with.
Yes, and that's just passenger. That doesn't include cargo or regular civilian traffic.
Now, there are multiple systems that monitor air traffic. What are some of the oldest parts?
The oldest part is probably our primary radar system. That's what Sean Duffy was talking about. That radar does date back to World War II.
And how effective is it? I mean, if it's so old, that's a long time ago that we're talking about, and it's relying on it to keep up with modern day aircraft.
Very true, very true. It basically sends out radio waves, and if it hits a object, it sends back a signal, and that's the only information you get from that particular type of radar. Now, we do have additional radar systems, things that work off the transponder on the aircraft, so it's more of a digital system, but we are well behind compared to other countries.
So why hasn't the U.S. found a way to either quickly or slowly implement newer things?
Well, they have started a program called Next Gen, which started maybe 30 years ago, and it has brought some new systems in, for instance, GPS tracking, which gives us more real-time data as to where aircraft are and their altitudes and things like that. So we have done some improvements. We're just a little slow to implement it. It requires government funding, but due to bureaucracies and the powers that be, we're just not at the same pace as some of the other countries like Eurocontrol and Canada and China.
Are other places using things like artificial intelligence to help?
There are some that are moving into that, particularly China, Canada. They are moving into AI systems, which could help controllers with predicting possible events at an earlier stage than what they currently have the ability to do.
And is that something that the U.S. could actually integrate, short of doing a whole overhaul?
I mean, I see why not. We've got the technology. We use it in other programs, SpaceX, things like that. I don't see why we couldn't use it in air traffic.
So, Margaret, what kind of training does it take to be part of an air traffic control system?
As far as the air traffic control side, it takes 2 to 5 years for an air traffic controller to become a certified controller. And that technology and using the technology, maintaining it, is all incorporated in that 2 to 5 years.
Considering that, the equipment, some of the equipment that's being used dates back to World War II, how confident should people feel about flying in the United States?
It is still the safest form of travel. I know there's been recent circumstances that may concern people, but you're more likely to have an incident in a car than you are in an aircraft. So what we call an acceptable risk.
That's Margaret Wallace. She teaches air traffic control and airport management at the Florida Institute of Technology. Margaret, thanks.
Thank you.
And of course, we can't end without talking about you-know-who, Elon Musk. Known for his unfiltered takes, the billionaire is once again pushing the limits on work-life balance, this time by boasting that employees at his White House-backed Department of Government Efficiency are clocking in a whopping 120-hour work weeks. Now, according to Musk, bureaucrats are losers for working 40 hours a week and never in the office on the weekends. This latest workaholic manifesto follows similar controversial remarks by Indian business leaders advocating for a 70 to 90-hour work week. But Musk, never one to be outdone, has set the bar for pure exhaustion. Our next report dives into the controversy.
Elon Musk has never been one to filter his thoughts. Whether he's naming his child something that sounds like a Wi-Fi password, live tweeting business decisions that cost him billions, or challenging Mark Zuckerberg to a cage fight, the man loves saying things that make the internet collectively raise an eyebrow. His latest gem, declaring that working weekends is a superpower. Employees of the Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE, are already doing that, which is why the government bureaucrats are losing so fast, because they dare to enjoy a 40-hour work week. His words, not ours. Musk, who leads Tesla, SpaceX, X, and now the White House's Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE, recently bragged that his new government task force is clocking in 120-hour work weeks. That's 17 hours a day, 7 days a week. Apparently, bathroom breaks and sleep are for the week. Musk wrote on X that very few in the bureaucracy actually work the weekend, so it's like the opposing team just leaves the field for 2 days. Working the weekend is a superpower, he stated, because nothing says government efficiency like a billionaire trashing weekends on a platform he owns. Musk has been on a hiring spree. He's looking for what he calls super high IQ small government revolutionaries. Musk wants employees who are willing to work over 80 hours a week, doing the thrilling job of cost cutting. No word on whether there's an employee discount on therapy bills. Of course, this isn't the first time Musk has treated work-life balance like an optional add-on. When he took over Twitter in 2022, he famously gave employees a choice: commit to an extremely hardcore work environment or take 3 months of severance pay. More than half of the company's 4,000 employees chose the latter, presumably because they enjoy things like sleep, personal relationships, and not collapsing from exhaustion. Musk himself has long claimed to work 120-hour work weeks, especially during Tesla's early days. He often slept in the office to lead by example. Some call it dedication, others call it a billionaire's inability to delegate. Musk's 120-hour workweek decree comes hot on the heels of a debate sparked by Indian business leaders. L&T Chairman S.N. Subramaniam suggests employees should work 90 hours a week, while Infosys co-founder Narayana Murthy advocates for a 70-hour work week. Both ideas were met with immediate backlash. But leave it to Musk to take things up a notch, because why settle for a grueling work schedule when you can go full dystopian sweatshop? In Musk's utopia, weekends are for the weak, 120-hour work weeks are the norm, and burnout is just another word for pushing through. So if you're a super high IQ revolutionary who enjoys sleep deprivation, extreme job insecurity, and working every waking minute of your life, congratulations, Elon Musk is looking for you. For everyone else, maybe just enjoy your weekend while you still can.
Last week, Wells Fargo was in the news because they fired some employees because they were mouse jiggling. Now, do you know what that is?
Yes. I have a question for you. How many times did you action it, circle back, or drill down today? I ask because it's only Monday and because business speak is endemic to work. No matter your age, no matter the kind of work you do, the workplace is a jargon-littered battlefield, and you have to find your way through a fog of corporate lingo. In recent years, this has become even tougher. Business buzzwords are evolving like never before, partially because of the internet, because of the young entering the workforce, but mostly because of the times we live in. Work is evolving, so new words are propping up, and this is very much a post-pandemic phenomenon. With years of hybrid work, productivity has gained a lot of attention. Now that workers are returning to office, there is a productivity theater at play, or should I say, forductivity. Apparently, this is the new work lingo. It's a portmanteau or blend word. For as in fake, and productivity as productivity. Together, that's forductivity. This is where workers give the appearance of productivity at the expense of doing any real work. And if you think this is a Gen Z buzzword to shirk off work, well, think again, because how many times did you hear phrases like these? I'm swamped with emails. I have so many meetings. I'm rammed at the moment. Don't think I can take this up. This could mean that the worker is actually busy, but such statements are also ubiquitous with looking busy. At least managers think so. And new research shows this. Nearly half of all managers are worried that their employees are faking their workload. But do you know what's worse? What's worse than filling your days with meaningless surface-level tasks? Showing up for the sake of it, than doing as you like anyway. Some workers hate returning to office so much, let alone doing the bare minimum, that they barely want to stay at work. So they're coffee badging. That's another buzzword. It's about showing your face in office, getting credit for being there, then leaving as soon as possible. Like marking your attendance and then bunking anyway, and completing work obligations at home in your own time. It is the ultimate form of hybrid work and rebellion. But why are people doing this? Well, the answer lies in the very root of corporate buzzwords. Just look at these two, forductivity and coffee badging. They're very different, but they share a common thread. They're both a little annoying. Many agree that this word salad is bizarre. So why are workers increasingly embracing it? And we can ask this about most corporate jargon. Double-clicking, tabling, flagging up. Survey after survey shows that workers find these words annoying, so why do we put up with them? Well, science says people do it to keep up, to understand what's going on, and to establish themselves in the corporate culture. Think of it as human peacocking. It's what experts say. Using corporate jargon is the human version of peacocking. And in the corporate world, it's much like doing it in the animal world. It shows the desire for status in the workplace, the desire for recognition, the desire to fit in. People keep up with changing language. They use the overused words to show that they're capable and that they belong. The terms may be ridiculous, but it is performative professionalism. Productivity simply takes it to another level with performative productivity.
Codification is just a process for solving problems. There's no Neely Fuller code. It's just a process for solving problems through the process of eliminating the things that work and separating them from the things that don't work. And it's do the things that work. That's all it is. There's nothing mysterious about it at all. There's nothing creepy about it. Do the things that work. Don't do the things that don't work. That's all. And we haven't tapped into that at all. It calls for planning. And the planning is just a matter of studying. Studying what works, studying what doesn't work. And then see to it that you don't do the things that, that you don't do the things that have every indication of not working. Yeah, I gave them a piece of my mind. They fired me this morning, but I gave them a piece of my mind. I told them else, Say, well, so you did that. So that's a doing. See what I mean?
Yes, sir.
Now, did you get the result as you were seeking? Because now that peace of mind that you gave them, you're going to have to go back and get that piece because you're going to need it to beg for that next job. Okay? of the brother of the person who you just told off. Now, I let people know when I went on the job, I said, I didn't come here to leave. I could have left without coming here in the first place. So when I come here, I came here to stay. They say, yeah, but the kind of stuff that they do here, they do the kind of stuff that they do here everywhere else. And I know that. You will always run into somebody that can run you off the job. The key is, let them run. Because you didn't come on the job to run off the job and go looking for another one. You could have taken care of that by not even coming on the job in the first place. So if the job is worth having, you stay there and let the other person leave. Now figure out how you go about doing that. And one thing is you can wear them down by them trying to wear you down. Now I tried that, and it worked. I mean, some black guy came with me. That guy, man, that they hired 2 months ago, man, if he say one more thing to me, man, I'm going. I say no. I said the fact that he's volatile, he's dynamite looking for a fuse. I said, and don't you be it. I say, stay out of his way. Let him run his course and all like that. I say, but that guy, man, I said, hey, codified. Trust me on this. At least a little way where you keep your eyes open and see that what I'm saying is true. See, just don't trust what I'm saying, just because I'm saying it. You watch it and see if it's true. Sure enough, that white guy, because he started off with me, And I said, well, now, I don't want to unduly influence you. He said, wait a minute, let me tell you something. Nobody influences me. You got that? And I said, oh, okay. That's all I said. And I said to myself, this guy's a short timer. I can tell that right now. He's a hot potato, which means he's going to trip all over himself, Going to fall on his face. I ain't going to have to touch him. Nobody is. It's people step back and let him fall on his face because his shoelaces are tied together. Every move he makes, he's going to fall on himself. Talking about nobody influences him. Right? Oh, nobody influences you. You never had a teacher that ever influenced you. How did you learn anything? You were influenced by an ad saying, come and get this job. Nobody influences you. Okay, all right. See, boom, 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 boom. Mr. Wolf, Wolf, Wolf. Hey, you're an easy one. See, it's the guy that comes here who's low key, doesn't say much, asks questions, real humble. That's the deadly white guy. He's insidious, and he's going to move too, right to the top. That white guy came in, letting everybody know that he's tough. And particularly, he don't put up with no niggers, And he didn't last no time. Man, and who was it that he got in trouble with? Of the white guys. I knew that was going to happen. See what I mean? He's a hot potato. He's swinging wild. He's swinging on everybody that come close to him. Mostly on black people, see, but he's taking it out on white people, too. And they ain't going to stand for it. See what I mean? I knew that, They ain't going to put up with him. Come in there acting like a nigger. A white guy acting like a nigger. The white folks ain't going to tolerate that.
Wow.
Yeah, one of the last times I saw him, he had a little position when he came in and was ambitioning for more. He wound up, they had some big duct equipment, that was covered with aluminum and whatnot. He was down there scrubbing it, down there on his hands and knees and all like that, because they let him have that job rather than fire him outright, okay? And when I went past him one day, coming through the tunnel, and he was down there, you know, scrubbing and scrubbing and scrubbing, and all that grime and whatnot, and he said, Fuller, I'm now among the lowest of the low. And I just said, well, tomorrow's another day. They might get better.
Wow. Wow.
I knew that was going to happen. See, and I was telling the black guys, I said, hey, don't you lose your job hitting him in the mouth or none of that, or even cussing him out or none of that stuff. I said, hey, listen to me. I said, don't do it. Don't do it. Resist that temptation. I said, when he's swinging wild like that, just jump back. I said, he's going to fall on his face. And he did. And black guys came to me and say, Fuller, man, how do you know these things? I said, by observation. It ain't me. I said, you just watch, you know, watch things. Watch cause and effect. Keep your mind on cause and effect. And when you see somebody doing stuff like that, just ask yourself, how long can he keep that up without something ugly happening to him? But see, you don't want to be involved in it. See what I mean? Why do you need to bother when he'll do it himself? He'll shoot himself in the foot. Why do you need to lose your job along with him, losing his? Because it's easier for him to get another one. All right?
For sure.
Yeah, keep that in mind. See, white people don't get fired. They get transferred.
Wow.
And that rang a bell with some of the black guys, because immediately they thought about that, because they had experienced seeing that. I see, you know, just that one statement. White people do not get fired, mister. In the system of white supremacy, white people don't get fired, just look like they got fired. And I found that out, see, because I would ask about people. I say, you know, so-and-so that never would come to work and all like that, where does he work now? Say, oh, he's over in such a department. Now, black people who were doing everything right and doing, you know, satisfying everybody, working hard and all like that, and still got fired, they still looking for a job. Here's some white guy that was messing up big time. And then when we hear about him, say, he's over at agriculture now. Man, he just got a promotion. You know? Yeah. And that was years ago, and I say, white people don't get fired, they get transferred. You know, if there's anything available anywhere, I mean, you know, they're going to get it, you know. And if it ain't nothing available, so they're going to make something available, because that's the way the system works. You know. But you're going to be around there searching forever. I first became aware of that, really, in Chicago in the 1950s. Me and white guys are all in that unemployment line. And it's one thing I noticed week after week. I was going to pick up my check. And the white guy I was talking to last week, he ain't in that line. There's another white guy there. See what I mean?
Yes, sir.
It was always the same black people, me included, week after week, going down there to sign for our unemployment checks. The white guys who would sit there and talk to us in them folding chairs, after a couple of weeks, you didn't see them no more. They wasn't coming to pick up no unemployment checks because they was employed. I figured that out right quick. But all the black guys, same ones, same faces, we got to know each other. See what I mean? Yeah. But all the white guys would just come and stay there, just, you know, they wasn't there no time. You know, you have a conversation with them about 2 weeks in a row, 3 weeks, and that's it. But you'd still be coming. And then new white guys will show up. And they didn't stay there no time. But the same black guys, I got to know them by name, you know. You know, the ones that was close to my name, because they call you in alphabetical order. You know, a guy, I'll be sitting there reading the newspaper. A guy comes sit beside me. How you doing, Fuller? You know, found anything yet? You know. I say, oh, Gibson, you know. I know you ain't got nothing yet. No, man, you know how it is, but I'm glad I ain't run out yet, but I ain't got too many more checks to go before I will run out. You know. I said, where's the other Gibson? Because it was two Gibsons used to be there, you know. Right. Call them Little Gibson, Big Gibson, because one of the guys is kind of big, you know.
Wow.
There's another black guy we call him Off the Wall. We didn't know what his name was, but he was always real funny. I mean, he kept everybody laughing. Said, where's Off the Wall? He got a job yet? You know. Say, no, he's around here somewhere, talking that Off the Wall. But the white guys, hey, we didn't know him. Guy named Payne, I mean, he disappeared real quick. You know, he stayed around there longer than any of the white guys. I mean, because I think he was turning jobs down, you know. We wasn't offered none.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Robust gratitude. Neely Fuller Jr. Wow. Just wow. Decades of counter-racist service. Robust gratitude. And I mean, there should be legions. No hyperbole, no fooling. Like legions of victims of racism all over the world. Man, them white folks was fitting to fire me on my job. I called Neely Fuller Jr. Whew. He saved me for at least 6 months. He saved me for at least 2 years. Whew. Man, they had my box ready to go. But Fuller told me and used that Constitution and asked them questions and don't get to cursing. And man, I was almost fired. And there should be legions of non-white people all throughout the known universe who have commentary just like that. Robust gratitude. Neely Fuller Jr. Context of White Supremacy. This week's installment, Neutralizing Workplace Racism. And I mean, really, this specific weekly installment of Neutralizing Workplace Racism, directly a product of the work, labor concepts of Neely Fuller Jr. because there are many non-white people all over the known universe who talk about racism, white supremacy, and all areas of people activity. I'm going to just speak for myself. I, Worthless Negro Gus T, I don't hear lots of non-white people talk about racism in the workplace and then specific things to do. Like if you said, well, okay, that's one victim, Neely Fuller Jr., who devoted a lot of time to talking about racism on the job. And like I said, legions of non-white people, some of them not even classified as black, and he still took time to help them if they were victims of racism. It would be difficult for me to immediately think of some other non-white people who, you know, they devote a lot of time to labor specifically. And here's my number, here's my email, message me, text, whatever. You get in touch with me and I will do what I can to help you out. Like, it would be difficult for me to think. I'm not saying other people don't do this. I'm just saying that that's something that's kind of unique about what Mr. Fuller invested lots of time and energy doing. And what I've said for a long time is kind of staggering because, I mean, dang, the way the plantation is set up, so many dark people are terrorized on the job. So many non-white people have so many problems and are fired and laid off and sexually terrorized on the job, it would seem like there would be more resources and material available for non-white people with regards to racism in the workplace. That is not so. Maybe it's changed. I ask regularly, if you find new materials, let me know. But I mean, Neely Fuller Jr., that was something that, and he didn't just talk about it like a little bit. It seemed like he also, hey, you heard Elon Musk, like it used to be, you got to hang out on these plantations 40 hours a week. Now they talking 70, 80, 100, 120 hours a week. Like, man, if you got to spend all that time there, that's a lot of how you're going to experience white supremacy racism. A big part of counter-racist codification, it would have to include, what do we do on these jobs? What do we do to get the job in the first place? The interview process and all of that. Policy and procedure, how do you deal with that? What do you do when they try and write you up and all that? I mean, everything he talked about when they try and do the write-ups. And he said maybe you don't sign it, you request time to go and read and all that. Just, man, I mean, he had so many. We even did whole programs where we had Mr. Fuller on, where there were black people who were having difficulties in the workplace. And we called him, and like early in the day, called him and at the workplace. Yep, right on it. Let's get it. Same thing that I said earlier this week. It wasn't, oh man, Jesus Christ. Oh, is this that coon out of Seattle? Oh, talk to him, ruin my day. Trying to watch the Redskins, man. I got seasons tickets to the Wizards games, man. Y'all messing up my schedule. Like, get me on Talk Tatum, man. Jesus. He never said that. He never said that. It was the exact opposite. Workplace racism. Let me get to it. Let me get some orange juice really quick. Let me clear my throat. Give me 1 second. That would be about it. Give me 1 second. Just let me clear my throat. 1 second. Okay, workplace. Let's get to it. Every time. Robust gratitude. Neely Fuller Jr. Man, oh man. Today's date, Friday, February 7, 2025. So I have been told. Our weekly summer Fuller Say, greatest spectators. That's right. Code book, word guide, take your pick. But that's what he said about non-white people. That is the result of the system of white supremacy racism. We head to the section they label Peanut Gallery. We get our popcorn, our high fructose corn syrup beverages, and get to giggling and making snide remarks and wise cracks. Love it. Do you have something constructive to add? Spectating? Just spectating? We do a lot of spectating. Greatest. We're not mediocre at spectating. Greatest spectators, dare I say, especially with regards to labor. The number, 605-313-5164, the code 564943, pound, press star 61 if you would like to participate. The number again, 605-313-5164, the code 564943, pound, press star 61 if you would like to participate. The email, untiljustice@gmail.com, untiljustice@gmail.com. If you have concerns, don't want to be identified, people find out you listen to that crazy Gus T, drop us an email. Keep your anonymity. You can read if you have suggestions and or problems. untiljustice@gmail.com. Let's see some of the reports that we heard quickly. So they talked about DEI. I thought, importantly, they said in all this hubbub with the new presidency, they said that some of these major corporations, they are removing their commitments to DEI on the sly, meaning they didn't come out and have a big press conference and say, you know, we got our new president and we had that Supreme Court decision about affirmative action and we're going to renege. You know, we said we were going to do it, but, you know, they said that thing about the forked tongue. Well, it's still true. We ain't doing no more DEI. They didn't do it that way. They came out and had a big press conference and had kente cloth, and Al Sharpton was present sometimes, and we love George Floyd, and matter of fact, we love black people. They had a big press conference. This time, shh. You had to read the report and be like, wait a minute. The report last year, you said you love George Floyd, and we're going to try to get a few more Negras, and now, what happened to the Negroes? Yeah. Just slick, like, dang, I thought, man. Master deceivers. Now, I also saw some of that also included, I guess in some companies, this Negro History Month, where they would normally have some sort of tacky watermelon jamboree, fried chicken shindig. They canceled all that. So, or even maybe they bring in Jane Elliott, right? They canceled all that stuff. Admitted racist Jane Elliott. They canceled a lot of that stuff. Said, oh yeah, that's, you know, DIE-ish, so we don't need no Black History Month. I'm kind of okay with that, because most of the time it would be what Fuller say, triple T, don't get no better than tacky. So I'm kind of okay with, you know, if they're not going to do no Black History Month, I'd say that all the time. Like, you should ignore that anyway. If they come and try and get you to volunteer and sign up to put on some sort of concert or program or discussion, you know, but thank you, but no thank you. We got work to do trying to get that raise. Now, the federal worker, what Fuller talked about all the time, the chief tool of the racist white supremacists is confusion, deception. Put out that offer, go on and quit your job, just go on and quit, just go on and quit, just go on and quit, and then don't give you a whole lot of time to think about it. You'll get severance and you won't even have to work. And they say, well, wait a minute, that isn't even legal and might be a lie and might be a cruel lie where you think you're going to get some paid time off. Not so fast. Get your hind parts back in here right now and get to work. Like, what? No, you said, confusion. That's why I said again, make sure you read the policy and procedure in full, hopefully before you even sign on to the job, so you know what you're putting yourself into. And then you know all this now. Is this even legal? Federal job, oh, that's supposed to be spelled out. So is this even legal, what they're talking about? I can leave and get all this money for all these months and then don't have to do no work? Let's make sure that's one Fuller talked about too. So we're going to do this at high noon. Everybody signs off. This is nothing crooked. It ain't going to be you stole the money and now we got to Ray Nagin and arrest you all these years later and call you a bunch of names like, We're going to do this at high noon. Pictures, everybody, live stream, all that. And I'm going to go and make sure I have triple read the employee manual so I know, okay, all this is legit. Let's see. When they got to the technology for the air traffic controllers, I played that segment at the beginning from last week, right after the crash, no less. President Trump, and he was talking to the reporter, and he said, because I got common sense. And in the middle of that, he said, we had the election that didn't work out. What in the world? We had the little skirmish on January 6th, tried to set things right, but failed. You had to wait for you. Like, man, at minimum, dude, you pardon Rike and everything. Like, let's move forward. Like, Jesus Christ, this Negro History Month, Biden is gone, Kamala Harris is gone. Move forward, man. Why are you even bringing... Anyway, so they get to the antiquated radar equipment. Now, that's another one. I'd heard that for years, in addition to we don't have enough air traffic controllers, period, whether they're geniuses or not. We don't have enough of them. then they said the equipment is antiquated. Now that seems like something, even if you do have geniuses, they would have to compensate for faulty machines. That's not the best either. And that's been the case for a long time, like even before his presidency. So it's a whole lot of things. In fact, they just had the plane that crashed this week. They just found the plane, I think, before we went live. We're supposed to be going to Nome, Alaska. I hope I'm saying it right. Not gnomes like in the little racist critters that we've been talking about at the courthouse such, but I think that's what they call it, Nome, Alaska. They said they just found the wreckage of the plane. I think it's presumed that all of the passengers are deceased. God bless the dead. But that just happened. Now, some people were joking, call it gallows humor, I guess, that the Trump administration, they suspect, because they just recovered the plane literally minutes ago, that they were going to already be coming out and say, we got them old DE hires. See, you let Leroy, fly the plane, and there you go. Up in it, see, planes just dropping left and see, that's what you do. That's what you can't get folks with common sense. See? They thought that's what, then, hey, I haven't heard him. Maybe that is what's happening. They just found the plane, so I don't know the victims, passenger, none of that. But I mean, hey, they don't have too many Leroy pilots, so I would guess these are probably white folks, at least the pilots, who will have to see what happened in Alaska. Was this antiquated machinery? Could be. Maybe they had some old doofuses in air traffic control who weren't, giving out competent information. Maybe they were swamped. Maybe they had been working a 120-hour work week, and, we need to hire more folks. Maybe it can be a confluence of variables. We'll have to see. But that did just happen, like, today. Let's see. I just said Elon Musk, Tesla, SpaceX, White House, suspected race soldier, Stanford. Talking about the 120-hour work week. Now, Fuller, he said balance. In fact, that's what he talked so much about, balance between people. Balance, 120 hours. They said in the report that is not balance at all. In fact, correct use of time and energy, Fuller said, correct sleep. Now, I have no idea how you can work 120 hours per week and have correct sleep. Even, in fact, you could pull it down. They said for some of the folks, 90 hours per week. I know, at least by my math, for 90 hours per week, for most folks, that means you're going to be working something in the neighborhood of 12, 13 hours every day, 7 days a week. Even that would be difficult to sleep correctly if you're working that many hours every day. I mean, is there eat time in there? Some people have to commute. Some people have a long commute. Some people have a child that they might have to at least wave at from time to time to make sure that white people don't come and say that you're a shiftless parent and we got to put them in foster care. Devontae. So, I mean, sleep is important, I think, for most folks. You can do the coffee and espresso and all that, but see, just nothing is in balance. Nothing is in balance. Everything is X. They tell you that right there, to the extreme and X-rated and all that. Out of balance. White culture, the system of white supremacy, racism, and that is a tiny minority dominating the majority of the planet. That's out of balance too. Let's see. And that leads to compensation. Since things are so out of balance, now we got productivity. We had just talked about that too, the mouse jiggler and all that, which again, the chief weapon system of white supremacy, deception. And that's really that whole report, productivity. I have to lie and pretend that I'm doing something constructive, pretend that I'm doing something productive. And even what Fuller says, chief weapon of the racists, words. I come in with all my fake white jargon and we'll upscale that and put a pin in that, and like, come on, man. Have you done anything today? Well, no. Man, come Come on. But, man, I talked big, boy. I had about 15 words, and I know I drank at least 15 cups of coffee, Hey, man, come on. And then it's white people do a lot of this. Go around and get my cute sounding words and get me a tablet, pencil, and some coffee. Woo, I'd waste a good half of the day for sure. For sure. You got some white people who are experts at wasting time on the job and making it seem like, wow, that Lisa is something. Cracker Jack. She ain't even ate no Cracker Jack that day because she was too busy gossiping and in everybody's business. Ain't even sharpened a pencil. Barely remembered to clock in. Productivity. These same folks that's got the mouse jiggler. Why would you even need such a contraption? It's 2025 as opposed to figuring out, how to solve cancer, get the lead out of the water in Flint. A mouse jiggler. And then Neely Fuller. I'm going to tell you, I had not sound clipped him saying white people do not get fired until now. It was right there. 7th visit to the cows. It was right there. I'd sound clipped that episode before and all the rest of it, but right there. And he had such a long segment talking about labor, sitting in the employment office in Chicago. I never hear anything good about black people in Chicago. It doesn't matter who's doing the talking. Fuller, Welsing, Obama, Mike Jordan, you pick the person. Spike Lee. I never. Leonida McClain, Oprah. I never hear any black person have anything good to say when they start talking about Chicago. It's going to be, we sat in that unemployment office for weeks, months. Big Gibson, little Gibson, off the... Man, come on, for off the wall. Jesus Christ. That right there, you can see how that's us, entertainment committee. Remember, off the... I quit, fella. Mr. Fuller. Robust gratitude. What else can it be? Robust gratitude. Off the wall. We give a shout out as well for off the wall, because it seemed like that probably influenced him to get to the entertainment committee, which we are not supposed to be in the workplace. Even if you work with other black people, Gibson, Big Gibson, Little Gibson, you are not there. We are not there to entertain and clown for our colleagues, even if they're classified as not white, man. Even if they're classified as not white, we have had enough for off the wall. We have had enough of black people as entertainment committee. Yeah, it is 2025. Elon Musk, even that right there, Elon Musk is talking about a 120-hour work week. Meanwhile, off the wall, the one and only Neely Fuller Jr. Robust gratitude. Off the man, you've been unemployed in Chicago for weeks on end. Yes, that will drive you off the wall for sure. You seen Cabrini Green? Jesus Christ. Yes, that will drive you off. Lauren Kresslove. Yes, we got lots of Chicago folks can tell that. Yes, Chicago will drive you off the wall. Yes. John Burge. Yes. All right. Number again, 605-313-5164. The code 564-943 # press *61 if you would like to participate, the email untiljustice@gmail.com. Let's see. We'll nab folks who dialed in first, then we'll get to the phone line. Let's see. Octavius in New York should be with us. If you have commentary to share, line should be open.
Greetings, Gus. Greetings, callers, listeners. The thing that I'm kind of, it's related to, it's a work-related incident. Basically, when it happened, was something unique that hasn't happened to me for quite some time. But we're in the middle of working with a ERG. It's an employee resource group. And the group that I work with is the Black group. And I planned a few events for Black History Month. It's one of the things that I figured I'd do just to kind of contribute. I had a talking event, interviewing somebody. I believe I told you about this last week, Saturday, with this historian, Dr. Clarence Taylor, in his book, Historic Black Brooklyn, which was canceled. I think it was due to the DEI situation. I spoke to the person that's in charge of this ERG and asked them, what about the other event? And the other event I have going is it's a Name That Tune event. And I suggested it as to lighten up the mood, lighten up the kind of doom and gloom people that are actually feeling currently right now due to the present regime in power. And I wanted it to balance off the other hard topics that I was going to discuss throughout, because I had another event that was on non-white women's health. And I did it last year. I figure I'd do it again this year. I will not be hosting it, but I put together the panel, organized the moderator, and was organizing the dates and times and everything. This was going to be a nice big event for the company where Black women, non-white women, were going to speak about their physical health, talk about the things that they need to do to strengthen themselves, make themselves better health-wise. I'm a firm believer if one person in the household, especially a parent, is not taking care of themselves, it's harder for the whole family too. So I thought this was a great topic. And so far, it doesn't seem like that's even happening. And it seems like the only thing that they're allowing me to do is this Name That Tune event. And what I was disappointed by was when I spoke to the person in charge of it, I told her, I said, okay, I can't do this, I can't do that. How about we set up pantries at different locations within the company that we work for? We work for a non-for-profit. And I said, it makes sense. We have multiple locations in Brooklyn and Manhattan, in Queens. If we open up a pantry, get food that's donated from other people and other companies, restaurants and such forth, we can then give that out. And then we could also introduce the people to different services that we have to offer, such as yoga, such as, check-ins. You could do environmental check-ins on your body for free at some locations. So I threw the idea out there. And this was just with the person that's in charge. We get into a meeting. And when we get into a meeting, having all the delegates and everybody there that are supposed to be the leads, the same person I told about this event, and she green-lighted it, she went ahead and said, oh, well, I have this idea. Maybe we should open up a pantry and have pantries there and at different locations so we could help people and then open up. And she literally stole my whole idea verbatim. And everybody else is going, oh, yeah, that sounds like a great idea. And I sat there on the phone on the Zoom call, just scratching my head. And I was like, and it's a non-white female, it's a sister, a Black woman. And I'm like, and immediately I messaged her and I said, we need to talk, just have a basic conversation. And she said, oh, I'm busy and I'm busy tomorrow and oh, I can't really talk. And I was like, oh, I see what's. So I say all this to say this is one of the most difficult parts. And I was listening to your broadcast earlier today about Neely Fuller and name calling. And it is hard. Like, I don't care who you are. I don't care where you come from. It is not a situation where people do something to you unjust, where you could sit there and always just bite your tongue. But if you develop that skill set, and I've been obviously offloading a lot of this onto my significant other, and she understands and she gets it completely. But, you know, I'm not going to go online and bash her on social media. I'm not going to go and get into another meeting and call her names, you whatever, blah, blah, blah. But I will not deny to you that that is not hard. And I think that is one thing that one thing I think, I don't care how codified you are, I just think it's something you're always going to struggle with, especially among non-white people, black people. But that's the end of mine. That said, I will mute my line. Thank you for allowing me to be heard.
Woo. I just had a quick question. Octavius in New York, did you say that you all were, like, they did allow you to do some sort of, like, non-white females health forum last year, or was that an idea, or did they actually have that event last year or previously?
Yeah, I was able to do it last year. I was able to get something going, and it was my idea. They took it. I was completely fine with it. I told them, I said, I think it's something they should do, and there was no problem. I don't know what's going on this year, and I'm not gonna. A little frustrating. That's all I could tell you. When you're trying to do something correct, constructive, righteous, whatever you want to call it, just helpful towards people, and it's just getting pushed to the side, minimized, cut down, you know.
I see. Well, bravo at least for previously being able to do it. I mean, hey, that's not replacing white supremacy with justice, but racists often wouldn't allow us any attempts. So at least you were able to bring some of that information forth before. And if anything, I think that's good codification in terms of, for the workplace, anything constructive. Because if I heard correctly, he said the only event that they're actually going to allow them to do is hammer time. Who was that? and for Negro History Month, they can do Name That Tune. That's about the size of it. And eating correctly, health, all the rest of it. Get us in trouble, some sort of legal issue. But hammer time. Yes, we can do that. No problem there. That fun for all will be had. Wow. That is, and again, that would be the expectation if you are a non-white person and you're attempting to do any sort of constructive project in the workplace. Until that project is done, expect any sort of racist disruption, interference. I mean, they might pull the fire alarm. They might decide to have an earthquake drill. A white person might come and take credit for the project that you've done. Black person might come and do that. They've stolen all the chairs. They messed up the catering order. Anything. Until the event is actually done. Whew. Okay, on to the next project. But I mean, I'm on alert thinking the whole time, oh yeah, the sabotage is a-coming. I'm going to try to do my best, but I'm not going to have it in my brain computer that this is just going to, what's that metaphor, the smooth sailing? No. This is fitting to be the Amistad, slave ship. And it's going to be a storm. That's what it's going to be until the event is done. And particularly for these type events, because anything related to like Black History Month, and I don't think you labeled it that, but anything like this, that it might be happening in February, around February, or if it's just niggers involved, the renege is very common. They might come, photographs the CEO, the most powerful white person at the company, come down. Okay, Leroy, this sounds great. We're going to do it. This is going to be a great project, and we'll honor Dr. King and all that. And then it'll be like 2 weeks before the project. Well, I don't know, Leroy. I had some second thoughts. We're going to put a pin in this one. How about that? We're going to come back and let you know. Just give us a little time. We're going to go down and talk to legal and HR, and we'll come back and we'll let you know. And then they never let you know. We've had that one before. Sometimes they just come back and let you know, we decided to go in a different direction. We're going to have to come up with something else. And yeah, it just might cause some difficulties. And legal had some concerns. They don't even tell you what the concerns are. But the legal had some concerns, and we're going to go in a different direction. And that's the end of that. That's the sort of thing that you can expect on the day of the event as well. They might tell you 5 minutes before it's time to start. Oh man, Leroy, we so sorry. We got that earthquake drill coming up later on today, and yeah, it's just not going to work out. What? To be expected. Incidentally, I will say, he said that he was motivated to do some of this because he felt like there was some doom and gloom in the office with the new regime, presumably President Trump and all that. And he said, hey, let's try and do something so we can feel a little bit better and elevate morale, as they say in the office. We'll do the name that tune thing and eat better, take better care of ourselves. I will say, incidentally, hey, system of white supremacy racism was in effect during the Biden administration. That was not time for jubilee and celebration. So, at minimum, perhaps, their thinking and emotions are correctly aligned, because we are in danger, and we were the last 4 years too. Kamala Harris notwithstanding. Let's see. It was in my brain computer, especially since I asked. So they had the non-white females health from last year, and then they tried to do it again this year, and it was vanquished. My thought process, I did say, man, is Leroy doing that well? Can we not do a health forum just for all of the non-white people? Now, I mean, I guess granted, it's probably not that many Leroys working there because we rape and sell crack, but I mean, they can't have just the health for all of the non-white people that would benefit all the Leroys that are there too. Maybe, I guess they can get some ancillary benefits from what they say to the females, but just that's something that I talk about a lot, especially in the context of labor, that the programs will be exclusively geared to non-white females. Not always, but woo, this is quite typical for labor. But again, it might be reflective that white people don't really hire very many black dudes. We're too busy raping. He said it was... Yes, sir.
I apologize for interrupting, Gus. I just wanted to address what you were saying, which is, it is accurate. That is the case. The difficult part, I'd say, was when I tried to do something similar, is that it got shut down real quick. I mean, it wasn't going to happen. Just wasn't going to happen, man. I mean, they just said to me, they said, if we do this, we're going to get pushed back from the top because it's an all black male thing. It can't go down. So that didn't even bother, man. I mean, it's crazy. Man. Like, it's crazy. People don't understand until you actually put your foot on the ground and you start actually trying to do work. And then if you have some kind of level of where you're not as confused as everybody else, and you actually see the patterns and seeing them over and over again, you start recognizing and going, wait a minute. So we can do this, but we can't do that? But isn't that the same thing? During COVID, weren't black men the ones that were dying the most? And don't you think we should talk about, don't they die the earliest? We can go on and on and on, but I couldn't do nothing. I didn't even get a chance to propose the whole thing. They just shut it down real quick.
Privileged black males. Oh, well. Leroy around here raping and doing crack anyway, so wow. He said they shut it down even. Who would be opposed to Leroy? Hey, maybe we can get Leroy to put that cheeseburger down, eat a little bit more kale. Like, who's upset about that? Immediately. The people, and he's the people upstairs. Wait a minute. What? Who is upstairs? Who upstairs got a problem with Leroy eating kale? What is going on? Does somebody upstairs have a vested interest in Leroy being unhealthy? Yes. Oh, I didn't. He even said, well, wait a minute. You let us do it for the black females and the non-white females. Like, is there a difference between it? Yes. Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. Dang. Wow. Why he said it totally crushed my motivator. Don't even get tried. Don't even come in here with that no more. Don't even try. Get on out of here. we might fire you. Don't even try. The folks upstairs. Wow. Well, I hush my mouth on that one. I want you to keep that job, so I won't say nothing else about trying to promote no health for black dudes. Let Leroy eat that Twix bar and drink all the Kool-Aid he wants. Now, he said they were just going to try and do health for the non-white females and leave out old Leroy. Good job. And he said they got halfway down the pike to doing it again, and we got this new administration, they say. I don't know. Might be controversial. We better just stick to Name That Tune. Which in and of itself, like, okay, right. I love it. They should do like DMX and Kendrick Lamar. Anyway, so they're going to stick with the Name That Tune, even though they had already proved it and had already done this seminar. What is it? Nah, we'll get pushback on this one, and nah. He says, well, maybe we could just do the pantry. Nah, we'll get pushback. We don't, nothing fruity around. And then they stole his idea. I love it. One, that is super common in the system of white supremacy racism in terms of any idea that might even be halfway corny, and it might even be a corny idea, but just if it's pitched at the correct time, correct group, pitched by the correct person, and sometimes it's not even pitched by the correct person. It's more important who it is not pitched by. Sometimes even a corny idea will be accepted as long as it's not presented by, I don't know, raping black dude. Just saying. Anyway, we have to see if we can think of a code to counter that. It might be putting it in writing so that there's documentation of where this thought process came from originally, so that if the person did read the email and then presented like, oh, you read Leroy's email from January 31st this year. I see, and now we're having the meeting this week, and oh, that's great. Leroy had a great influence on the meeting. Maybe Leroy didn't even talk during the meeting. Maybe he didn't even rape anybody during the meeting, but still had a constructive contribution. Great. We'll have to think about that to see if people have any better techniques. I will say, one, we got some of that white jargon because Octavius in New York said he's been offloading. What? I've been whining to all the black people in the neighborhood how they stole my idea. Oh, okay. I'm just joking. I'm joking. That's not whining. I'm just offloading is the white tech to make it seem like white people are really doing something in the workplace when, what I say, I drank 15 cups of coffee. I told 15 racist jokes, and that's about it for the day. Give me another hour, and I'm gonna have a few more racist jokes at least. Offloading, see. And they offloaded because, see, I dumped all my work on Leroy and Lakeisha, see. Everything that I was supposed to do, I just dumped it on them. See, I offload, and then I do more of the racist jokes. He said it was a black female, non-white female, who stole his pantry idea, one, and was in the, man, I don't know, we're going to get in trouble with some of this. We got new president and nah. Yeah, I know I'm reneging, but nah. He said he had to reflect on old Fuller like, he was ready to, you low down dirty skunk. I will only say, white people stomp on us all day long. All day long. All day long. And it seems like lots and lots of black people, non-white people, all over the world have developed that skill set for white people, because I do not have to beg black people, non-white people, period. Hey, man, you gonna stop calling these white folks crackers. You gonna stop calling Mr. Charlie and O'Fay and all that. I don't have to do that. It's only, and it's not even other non-white people, it's just black people. That's what strikes me as so suspicious. Like, all that, and like, really, like, man, I mean, black people get out of cows, listeners, get on my nerves. But I mean, nobody should get on our nerves more than racist man, racist woman, racist child, and we don't really name call them like that. We don't cry. I'm not saying we should. I'm just pointing out an observation that, man, white people should get on our nerves like nothing else, and we stay pretty reserved, and we just take it. They kill our whole family and dump us out in the street, and Leroy on I can't get out. We had Lakeisha in this interest, like, Lakeisha, 30 days where Lakeisha can't be a coon, dirty skunk. Fuller, March 6th get here, because I said 30 days, and then on March 5. When March 6th get here, Lakeisha, no name calling. Get ready for March 6th. I'm going to tell you. Fuller did say, hey, many black people do believe in name calling other black people, for sure. For sure. I haven't seen, hey, apparently we do not believe in name calling white people. Now, why is that? Any hoodles. Much of he did say, I didn't hear any name calling, so he said he was going to try and stick to it, continue to offload to other folks who can be empathetic, and no, for Fuller, no name calling black people. We're going to see if we can get to March 5, do 30 days, no name calling black people. I had some other people, they heard that. I'm going to see if I can do that, you know. I'm probably on autopilot with some of that. I just, you know, go through the day, coon this and Sambo that and Uncle Tom. They didn't say they were name calling white people either. Nope. Any hoodles. Replace white supremacy with justice immediately. Robust gratitude, Mr. Fuller. Let's see. The number is 605-313-5164. The code 564943 pound. Press star 61 if you would like to participate. Same thing if we have federal employees, if you've been impacted by, you know, because I guess the DEI, that's one. And then people that have federal jobs, man, if they're non-white people, if you're in that position, you should, you know, let us know that as well. The email, untiljustice@gmail.com. Untiljustice blackjustice@gmail.com. If they are doing Black History Month ceremonies in your workplace, let us know. If they reneged, a la what we just heard from Octavius, you should let us know that as well. Because I don't know, I didn't play that in the audio, but I did read that and I talked about it, where they have done that, where they were going to do something, related to Black History Month, and then it's like, we better not do it, trumping on this. So yeah, we talked to HR, we thought it over, we're going to do something else now. So if they are having something, you can let us know. And if they reneged, let us know. If they asked you to be a part, whatever, I don't know, talk or whatever that they're going to do, you can let us know that as well. Again, my recommendation would be politely decline. Let's see. Other folks who dialed in, if you have commentary to share, Bay Area Mom should be with us as well. If you have commentary, proceed.
Greetings to you. Thank you for taking my call. Okay, so workplace racism. So I just got off work. I stayed a little over lingering because I had to get my time shifted. So I missed all the commentary and everything. I normally do. But I wanted to share a little more about the gentleman, the person that identifies as a female. So last week there was a little scuffle about the program that this person has created and wants everybody else to tend to it because she's only there for 15 minutes of the 30 minutes that is last. This is the same person that had the stubble and wears the face mask because the kids ask a lot of questions. This is the same person that I misgender. I misgender all the time. The same person that was upset when during the Pride festival that was supposed to be about Pride and it turned into Gay Pride. And this person was upset that the parents were sending the children home early during the parade and didn't want them to participate. So got mad and then blamed the school, thought this was so inclusive, so that kind of thing. So this is the same person. Also the same person that when we were on break for the school year and we came in, we started work because we start a month early. And, I was just at home, depressed, stressed out, suicidal. I'm glad to be back. This is the same person. So all of this is in one person that's teaching, have a teaching table in special day. So this week I had to teach teach at this person's table, and I think the person was filling away because they kept the instructor was saying, I want you to sit at the table. I was like, get this table, this yellow table, the one that is not available, this table. And, I'm just getting my stuff. I'm just doing this. And then start, okay, you do this. So you're still talking to the students, but you don't need to talk to the students because I'm going to work with these students. But no. So I think that bothered this person, and they went on their break. I want to also share that when this person takes a break to go home, so when they take their 5-minute break, they go home. So they do live not walking distance from the school, but they walk home for their 45-minute break. And it's not lunch, it's a break. So yesterday, this person had an hour break and went home. But none of that is for prep or anything like that. So this person, ever since, now, mind you also, the after-school program is ran by Black women. So this person, I think I fear for my life. And so now all of a sudden this person fears for their life. Since the directors just want to oversee to see how this program is running, that you have your little art program that you included into transitional kindergarten. They just want to see how it's ran because the other adults are complaining. So the other adults showed how it could be ran and still allow time for this one person that leaves at 4:45 to still shut it down at 5. Maybe you start maybe 3:15, you can still shut it down before you leave. So then it's I don't. They watched it. They got mad watching how it should be ran by the other people in the circle. So just walked off. I can't take this. I can't deal with this. So this person comes back to the after-school program the next day. So they're asking, "Are you going to teach art for what? Why should I?" So this person is totally in their feelings because someone had the nerve to complain about how it's being ran, which isn't balanced at all. So her and the white lady, the older white lady, got into it so that today the white lady left early because there's a lot of tension now from the staff complaining about the work balance. It's not balanced, and they have to do all the work behind, whereas this trans gentleman leaves and goes home at 4:45. So now it's trickling upstairs. So upstairs, where we all work with the children, this person is getting very frustrated. She's getting very frustrated with the children, lots of extra words, unnecessary words to say to the children. So nice little girl, we'll call her Lillian. So Lillian, now mind you, we're a special day. So Lillian's also one of the ones who went home early during the Pride Parade that was not supposed to be about gender pride. That turned into that. So, she no! And some, stop screaming! So this is this lady. Stop screaming! So the lady, hey, you need to do this, you need to... And just really screaming at the child. So now the child is crying. And mind you, this person has a deep voice. And so then the teacher was like, well, she had to get up and say, well, maybe, if you don't yell at her, if you do it this way, well, I'm trying, she doesn't want to do this. Well, maybe you have to, hey, just do this. Like, well, if you yell at her, it might scare her. But if you just talk to her and say, hey, do this, or just say it slow. I did that already. So, no, okay, whatever. Okay. And so then the person kind of tried to change the tone. And so the little girl ended up having to do the work later because it just didn't work out. But the frustration with the children is real. The children that I was with upstairs with them, she acts like she's afraid of this child. He's only 6 years old. And then, oh, Tony, watch out. Oh, Tony. So it's this other little boy that is the one that must have said something about her being a man. And this child had to apologize to her. So now she's trying to be a little more, trying to rebuild this relationship that she lost with this little boy because it turned into this big deal about asking a simple question about you being a man. So the boy that I had, the 6-year-old, he had his hand up like he was going to hit the little boy in the head. So the teacher was like, no, sit down. So, the regular teacher, the lady. So now the trans gentleman says, oh, no, are you okay? Are you okay, young man? Talking to the other kid, and he's like, yeah. Now, mind you, the child didn't touch him, so he should have been okay. Yeah, I know, that was scary. That was awful. Yeah, I know. And so the teacher told the child to move on the other side, the child that could have gotten hit to move on the other side. Oh, he has to move? Oh, dear, you got to move all the way over there. I know you like this seat, huh? Oh, dear, you have to move? Oh, no, you have to move all the way over there. Oh, it's got to be awful for you to have to be all the way. It's just to the other side of the table. But this person made this big deal about this person. You have to move? Oh, no. So it was just to move, just so you don't have to worry about that, and then you could see. So, oh yeah, how is it over there? Yeah, it's so much different from where you were sitting on the other side, huh? It's got to be terrible. Yeah, that's okay. So, it's just interesting now since the black directors had to get in and make it to where everyone is comfortable in his setting. He's now fearing for his life or feeling, like something's going to happen to him. Just so ridiculous because they didn't have to even go there. But he took it there. So that's all I'll share for today. Thank you for taking my call, and I'll mute my line.
Wait a minute. I've totally forgot. In the name of Carter G. Woodson, are they having like Negro Pride Fest or something right now for the children to come and opt into or opt out of and celebrate Negro heroes and heroines of the Bay Area, like, I don't know, Dr. Maya Angelou and Jim Jones?
So yes, we are. We do have black. So we are putting on doors a lot of black stuff with WNBA. When we had professional development on Monday, we started doing that for February. So there's a lot of, the repeat, the 12, 13 repeated black faces on walls. For our door, we made this black lady and maybe with some paper, some hair, kind of decorated her. So there is something, and then on Monday they're going to wear all black, and then maybe Tuesday they'll wear something from a HB historical black college or university. So so they're attempting to do stuff, but wait. So it's just this week and next week because we got 6 days off in February. So we won't be there. We're only going to be there next week. So after Valentine's Day, that's it. So we're knocking everything out by next week. And then keep in mind, they have all that other stuff, too, in February. So yes and no. But it wasn't as major as Pride in August? I think it was in August or September. That was major. And I think it was because they weren't June. Pride Month is in June, and school is not available. So I just think because there's a lot of anti-sexual beings in our space that they forced it to be a pride. And it was supposed to be like Black Pride, whatever kind of pride, but it just totally turned into love is love. We all love and rainbows. So that's my answer.
I might have to opt out of that too, but they're going to all wear black next week. Like, what is... Come on, man. The goth people do that every day anyway. Like, hey, come on. Y'all encroaching on our fashion statement. What's going on? Man, I said that last week. I said this for specifically neutralizing workplace racism. I said, now, if they're going to come in and they decide we're going to decorate for Black History Month, I don't know what the non-tacky decorations would be, but okay, we're going to decorate. And see what she just said? They come in and do the snap. In fact, I would prefer put Jim Jones up. At least, I think that would get people like, wait, what? Who? Why is... At minimum, for the people that are really like, who is this white man? Like, why is... Oh, you fitting to learn. Matter of fact, go home and ask your parents if they lived in the Bay Area, if you're not some transplant or whatever. Ask them, do they remember? Jim, we start right. Matter of fact, that's the assignment. Go home and talk to your family. Turn the television off, no Netflix, turn the phone off. Talk to your grandparents, your aunties, your uncles, and ask them, do they remember Jim Jones? Write a report. What did they say? And you can come back in. You could even make that a digital project. You could do a video. If they're old enough, they could do a video and record what do they remember about Jim Jones and just see, what do they remember? Is it Kool-Aid jokes or, whatever? And then we come in and now we going to learn. about Jim Jones and why he should be on the wall for Black History Month in the Bay Area, especially in Oakland. Then we'll get to Dr. Angelo later. Not that she's unimportant. Hey, book club. But I'm saying we're going to get to Jim Jones first. As opposed to, because she said, the first thing she said was WNBA. Are you serious? Now, even if it was NBA, I wouldn't care if it was LeBron James, Steph Curry, Mike Jordan, Magic Johnson. I guess most of those are Bay Area legends. Or excuse me, California. There we go. California legend. You put Kobe in there too. I would rather have Jim Jones than LeBron James, Steph Curry, Magic Johnson, Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, all day long. All day long. But like, are you serious? That's black ball games, entertainment, off the wall. See, you throw the ball off the wall. See, that's Negro culture. Like, nah, man. Like, come on. If that's gonna be, Black History Month, that's gonna be our hind parts effort for the children. Then, yeah, I'm gonna opt out of this and opt out of pride, especially, and then pride gets here, and that could have been black pride or any pride. Nah, Bay Area pride, California pride, gay pride. Hey, man, opt out of that one too. Hey, come on.
You still got them in a cage, but they're comfortable. See, so give him some bling bling. It's like giving an animal a brand new car and training the animal to ride up and down the street in it. And then you stand back and point at the animal. Like one white man said in the late 1950s. He said he doesn't care what kind of car a Negro has. He said he's still a nigger. And when he rides by in a shiny car, to him, it's just a monkey in a car. White people built a car, put a monkey in it, trained the monkey to drive the car, so now you're looking at a monkey in a car. See, but black people don't see themselves that way. But this is how the white supremacists see us, and they are the ones who run our business. And we have to know that. And when they look at us, that's what they see. That's what they see. That's what they see. And at a subliminal level, what they see begins to spill over into our brains so that we, at a subliminal level, see each other that way. And indirectly see ourselves that way.
Context of White Supremacy. I pulled my microphone cord out somehow accidentally, and took me a moment to get it reconfigured correctly, which I did now. But I was playing Mr. Fuller while I got it set, and then by the time I got it corrected, I said, I'll let it finish as opposed to interrupting. Robust gratitude, Neely Fuller Jr. reminded me, like I said, he talked so much about the workplace and just the importance of being codified in the workplace, and especially for situations like this, where it's going to be, we got to have so-called gay pride celebration, and especially when it starts to be accusations, Bay Area, you are misgendering me. I'm what? Which he had talked about before. They say, I may present as a male, but I'm a she, and all the rest, or they got all the, pronouns that they make up and such. Like, oh no, I call people what they want to be called. Fuller endorsed that all the time. I did not do no name calling or misgender. Like, come on, because they'll be quick to, drop that accusation on you. So call people what they want to be called. Take your time, in speaking, because sometimes it can just be being accustomed, especially if they have a beard and it has been tied for, a long time, to switch it up. Todd, whoops, my fault. I'm going to get it, Tina. And I have no problem apologizing. Just saying, I'm going to get it. You have to give me, a few times to reprogram my brain computer. I've been thinking Todd for a while. And I mean, they should have some patience. It shouldn't be overnight, don't you ever call me Todd again, and I'm going to accuse you and you misgendering, misogynist. Like, wait a minute, you've been Todd for 6 years. Wait a minute. Anyway, oh my God, she said that they got the little fella, 6 years old, and it's, oh man, watch out. Be careful. Uh-oh. Devontae might rape you. Watch out. Now, really, and especially you put all that together. So you got teacher, it's male, it's female, and I might get in trouble if I, say, hey, I think this is a dude. You got to go in the closet, Johnny. What? Wait a minute. I got to go. I thought, oh. See, you got all that. Then they got the pride or the gay pride or whatever it is. For Black History Month, we got athletics, we got ball games and such, and no Jim Jones. For Black History Month, they got the closet, all the rest of this, and then at 6 years old, 6 years old, uh-oh, watch out, uh-oh, he might be a little rapist and I don't have offspring. Is this the best we can do? You produce little black girl, little black boy. Is this the best we can do? Shuttle them off. Race soldiers, transgender race soldiers, all the rest of it, and, send a prayer. Fuller, can you watch over little Devontae and Lakeisha? Look out for them. That's the best we can do in 2025. If the answer is yes, okay. Whew. The joke is on the offspring. And again, the genius told us you don't have to have the children. If the answer to that question is yes, hey, you don't have to have the children. That might be the better option if that is indeed the best we can do. Wow. And then now, the 6-year-old is a suspected rapist. The suspected racist, white person, transgender, LGBTQ. I fear for my life. No count, Bay Area mom is misgendering me. I feel unsafe. I feel unsafe. I need security to get to my vehicle. I don't feel valued. Like, are you serious? The little fella said, I'm a dude, and I'm. It's a battle to even come in the door every day. What? Y'all got children in the closet all day long with a hammock, man. What? Man. See, and that's the sort of thing right there when I talk about, like, who has benefited most from affirmative action and even all this yammering about diversity, equity, and inclusion. A lot of times they'll say flagrantly, this is what they're talking about. The rainbow flag, the pride, LGBTQ, Matthew Shepard, that flagrantly is what they'll say. They ain't got nothing to do with hiring no niggers. Like, none of the non-white people, none of that. We're talking about getting gay white people and making sure they're taken care of, making sure this fella right here, or whatever, making sure they, see? So you see, old Gus and Bay Area mom, you old niggers get together and misgender me, see? That's what we're trying to correct. That's what they say. That's what they say. Contempt for gender, that's what Fuller called it. Anyway, much obliged, Bay Area mom, old misgendering Bay Area mom. We should make sure we have a code for that one, too. Same thing I said with Fuller. You call people what they want to be called, mistakes will happen, and I would even say that in advance. Like, hey, I'm a little retarded, so it might take me a few times. I'm not trying to misgender or mistreat anyone. I just, might take a few times for me to remember because I've been saying Ted or whatever the case. Just if you can give me a polite reminder as to how you want to be correctly labeled, and I will make sure I say that every time. And that's the way I would say it. Call people what they want to be called. I have no battle, qualm, question, nothing. Just, make sure, and if it changes, give me the update. This is how you want to be referenced, and I will call you that every time. No questions asked. Any hoodles. Let's see. The number again, 605-313-5164. The code 564943 pound. Press star 61 if you would like to participate. The code 564943 pound. Again, press star 61 if you would like to chime in. The email untiljustice@gmail.com. We'll get email number 1, then we'll see if other folks have commentary they would like to share. Let's see. Email number 1. Hi, Gus and Cal's audience. 1, the quality of right-wing Ashley's work still isn't improving, and she made another error which I had to bring to Shauna's attention. Essentially, she was drafting a report for senior managers, which included legal advice. I had edited the document and given her comments on things to be amended. I also edited a section of the report so she could use it as a guide when she revised the rest of the paper. I also gave her extra time to complete the changes, which she didn't use effectively. Now, see, all of that is wasted time, too. You have to go and do all these edits. And, I mean, some of this would be a part of your job, but it seems like this is just another incompetent white person where you end up essentially having to do their job. And it's so much. See, this is what's that term? The fancy one? Offloading. 2, to make matters worse, she copied and pasted the text I had amended rather than reviewing the sections she was to update. If she had paid attention, she should have realized that the legal advice was not the same. This mistake or laziness, I'm going to say laziness, was made all the worse because the lawyers had flagged the same error a few weeks ago. Gee, see, that's lazy. Thank the white people, high pay, because I'm sure these lawyers do not work. If these are white lawyers, I'm sure they do not work cheap. I'm sure this wasn't pro bono legal advice or recommendation in terms of to make these corrections, and then they get it back. You have not corrected them, and then you have mindlessly just copied and pasted changes or corrections that someone like, wow. That seems like the sort of thing, if that had been me, Lakeisha, black person, they would have been fired. Like, are you, how many times do I have to tell, like, oh, and you'd have been fired and embarrassed in the process, too. Let's see. You would think that this would have caused her to triple check her work, but no, she's offloading the triple checking of her work on to you. 3, so I spoke to Shauna about the extra work right-wing Ashley is volunteering to do. Example, the directorate away to, oh, that's right, she was that's so funny, which would be fine if she was any good at her day job. Zoe, who is right-wing Ashley's manager, was on leave. Shauna decided that right-wing Ashley should not be invited to senior meetings until she has developed the fundamentals of her role. Shauna talked about wanting to give her team exposure and that she had invited right-wing Ashley to many senior meetings. At this point, Shauna was playing in my face as she has never done the same for me. Get out, black, get back, get out of here. But I know that she has done the same for Zoe and Shelley, who are both racist suspects and white. For listeners, maybe newer listeners, again, Shauna, her supervisor, is non-white and specifically is classified as black. I don't know where her great-grandparents and all were born at, so I don't know. But classified as black. Hey, this is what to expect in the workplace. And I mean, that is really important. What she talked about in terms of being invited to these senior management meetings, even if you don't participate, really. Even you don't say a word, even if you're not prepared, like if they sent you a PDF, notes, what they're going to cover in the meeting, things that they might want you to pay attention to, who's going to be there. Even if you skipped out, I didn't read none of that. We were out at the bar last night. I was doing Jello shots, and I didn't even forgot what time. I done forgot all that. Just the fact that I'm here. I'm half asleep and hungover, but I'm here. I get to see. I can kind of pay attention. Oh, I see. Even, in fact, I don't even have to pay attention. I can turn my phone on and record. I can go back and listen to that meeting over just because I was there. Wow, they said this. They said that. Wow, I wish I had been awake when that happened. I wish I hadn't been hungover when that happened. But you get to learn. Wow, this is what's important when you go into these big meetings and they're going to do these $1 million deals. And a black person doing competent work, beat it. I want to beat it. Even our black brothers and black sisters, even they might not necessarily, come on in, cousin, you know I got your back. You know I got the, Not worthy of name calling either, by the way. And hopefully when we expect this and we don't go in thinking that this is our black sister, this is our black brother, we're a little bit less frustrated, so we don't have to get into all that name calling, because I didn't think we were teammates to begin with. Let's see. Three. In contrast, Shauna told me that I should approach my mentor and ask if I can shadow them. Interesting terminology there. 4. Shauna spoke to right-wing Ashley about the need to improve, which she acknowledged was an issue. She also talked about her mental health being poor, which is a strategy of lots of white people in the office employ, and it usually works for them. Now, that's what Trump was complaining about and saying, you know, we're trying to get DEI hiring and get all of these white people who are mentally unstable and mentally unhealthy and suffering from dwarfism and all that to come and work at air traffic control and cause all these crashes and such. That's what he was complaining about. That's what I'm saying. Most of the time when they're talking about affirmative action and diversity and all the rest of it, they are not talking about replacing white supremacy with justice. They are talking about lame and incompetent white people, and it's lots of this is rife for white people. One, words. You have a lot of white people, they can easily go to their racist white cousin doctor or therapist and get them to lie and write some sort of prescription or what have you, and, you know, I've got this sort of, you know, dyslexia, or I'm on the autism scale, or whatever, and I can get all kinds of goodies. I can get a job, good salary, benefits, can't be fired. Like, we've had people who called in and told us that there were white people on their job who had paperwork that said they had such and such a mental disability where they could not be fired from the job, where they could go in and mess up, and white people don't get fired, they get transferred. And almost they were untouchable. They had their little paperwork that says, you know, I got such and such disability, and they just got their little nice office and their little schedule and get their little paycheck, and they are the most secure employee in the building. What a life. 5. Right-wing Ashley's attitude is the reason she's in this position. As you stated last week, there is an element of not wanting a black person to tell her what to do, but she's also insubordinate with Zoe. That's a white person. I think it's because she realizes that Zoe is also not up to par. A few months back, Right Wing actually mentioned that she was accompanying Zoe to a meeting with a senior manager as moral support. It was a straightforward meeting, and the people she was meeting with were supportive, so no need for backup. I couldn't believe what I was hearing and asked her, that's what I was thinking, like, what does that mean? Like moral support? What? Thank you for, yeah, I was in the same boat. She realized she'd said too much and downplayed what she said, but it's clear she doesn't respect Zoe and probably resents having to answer to me in any way, shape, or form. That is fascinating because I just don't know what that is. Like moral support? Like what? Like, I can't, what? Like in a workplace, I can't imagine that in a workplace setting. One, like under any circumstance, like if I was going to ask for a raise or anything, I cannot imagine. Like, I think Carl in Florida said his mom works at the courthouse. Like, I could not imagine I was going to ask for a raise. Like, Mom, I don't know. I'm feeling, I got the butterflies. You think you can go in with me? Just moral support. Just, you don't have to say nothing. Just, give me a back rub from time to time, and I'm gonna do it. I got it. Just moral support. What? I can't. I'm speechless. I can't even get it together. But I mean, that's what I said though. See, they get all these old lame income. But that's what Trump was talking about. See, you get all these white people that don't even have common sense. And then since I ain't got no common sense, maybe you can come in and give me some moral support. If you got any common sense, you can lend me some of that too. I mean, like, what? And you supposed to be in charge? Like, oh my God, I quit. And she said this wasn't like a high-powered $1 million meeting. This is pretty, straightforward. Okay, we got the document. We're going to offload on the Negro. Okay. Quick and simple. I'm going to mispronounce offload. They're going to find out I can't type. Jesus Christ. And now, all of this notwithstanding, do not misconstrue this with white people being ignorant. Not at all. Hey, they do all this and you still got to answer to them. So we clearly do not know enough. But it is staggering. Why, if anything, that is an indictment on us that the system can allow for this many incompetent white people to occupy positions all throughout the world, and we can't even do anything about that. Can't even stop them from offloading on us, the incompetent white people wearing us out on a daily basis, Gus T included. Any hoodles. Let's see. 6. And Zoe isn't experienced. A few weeks ago, she told me she was in awe of my ability to link up in our strategies. Understanding and shaping strategies is a part of Zoe's work. See there, white people don't even have to have the fundamentals of their job. That white woman got to the courthouse. She couldn't even type. They had the other white woman. She got hired. She didn't even know how to use the Photoshop program. You got all these white people that don't even come to work half the time, take 6 months off, and don't let anybody know. Like, white people don't get fired. They get transferred. And apparently, they don't even have to be competent. They get hired. White people don't get fired. They get hired, man. Like, even if they, my sick white brother, we are a spiritual simpatico. He is unprofessional, and he doesn't know how to talk to people. He's still got a good job and gets recommendations for promotions. Not Gus T. Matter of fact, Fuller said, not even the black people who are professional and do know how to talk to people. Man, we'll get to Devontae if we have to. They're going to stick with that incompetent white man. We're going to ride that one till the wheels fall off, man. Again, that's the ignorant white people wearing us out. Us is the non-white people, victims of racism, especially at work. Ooh. The number again, 605-313-5164. The code 564-943 pound. Press star 61 if you would like to participate. We have other folks. If the Black History situation has popped up in the workplace, if they have canceled Black History events, let us know either way. If we have any federal employees, let us know. I will add, I'll give folks 5 minutes, see if they have additional commentary that they would like to add. In the Pennsylvania area, they had a documentary that I shared about the history of black people creating the EMT service that we know, EMS service, excuse me, when you call 911 and the people come and whisk you away, that black people pioneered this in the Pennsylvania area. We talked about this before. American Siren, Kevin Hazard, he was a guest on the program the end of 2022. He talked about it all with the racism. These black people, this is in the 1960s during so-called civil rights movement, but bringing on these black people, training them to do this job that they took tremendous pride in, certainly going out and serving black people and white people too, but going out and kind of pioneering this service. And then the city took it over, brought in white people, kicked out as many of the black people as they could who had all this experience, knowledge, training built up, kicked out almost all of them, and then totally erased them from the history of EMS and emergency medical response in the U.S., which shaped how this practice evolved all throughout the world. They have a documentary that aired on Pennsylvania television this week about all of this in the 1960s, and they spoke with a lot of these black males who worked at that time. In the book American Siren, they talk about the workplace racism and the different techniques that they used to get rid of these black employees and terrorizing them, and different standards. If you're late, oh yeah, Leroy, we don't have no grace period. You're supposed to be here at 8 a.m. for your shift. Can't be showing up at 8:05, that sort of thing. Like, had to have a code. The black people who survived that, they had a code. Do this, don't do that, say this, don't say that, keep your mouth closed, don't do it. I mean, they had a code, but a lot of that is in the book American Siren. Kevin Hazard, he was a guest on the program back in 2022, suspected racist Kevin Hazard, but they speak with a lot of the black medics and workers in this documentary about their experience, even going out and, like I said, they did serve white people, so white people seeing black people working in a medical ambulance and offering emergency medical services, that was stunning too. He had specific examples of how some of these racists, now they had called, to get me, I'm having a heart attack or whatever, and I need to go to the hospital, and so the black people come in the van and they got stethoscope and everything else, and oh my goodness, let's do your blood. Whoa, raping, leaving, what you doing, man? Wait a minute, wait a minute. I mean, it got dangerous some of the times. We're like, man, if you don't get your city raping hands off of me, ain't you, buddy. Any hoodles. The documentary, I posted it online. You can check it out. I think anywhere, but definitely in the Pennsylvania area. You can check it out for free. It's not too long. You can see some of the many black people who were totally forgotten, who should be medical pioneers, right up there with Dr. Welsing, but totally erased and forgotten. Victims of white supremacy racism. Any hoodles. So we will be here on Saturday, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, compensatory call-in. What's gone down past 7 days, all that. Sunday, simultaneous with the so-called Super Bowl, which we have done many times throughout our illustrious 16-year history at the Context of White Supremacy, hopefully modeling what is more important with our time and energy. Pat Mahomes and them, they're going to get the 3-peat. win it again. Don't let Saquon Bart. What is more important? We had Dr. Welsing on during the Super Bowl a number of times, and other guests on live during the big game. I even said we had a white professor, suspected racist, Dr. Jennifer Wallace. She was a guest on the program live. 2023 Philadelphia Eagles played the Kansas City Chiefs in the Super Bowl. We talked about CTE, tackle football, racism. It was so nice. We are doing it twice. This Sunday, white woman, CTE, racism, tackle football. I cannot wait. Live time. What time do we broadcast? 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific is my time. I don't care if the Super Bowl is on. That is my time. So we'll be on live with the game. Cannot wait. I mean, we had Dr. Jessica Wallace on. That was the white woman who was on the last time the Eagles and Chiefs did the Brain Damage Bowl. She was rooting for Jalen Hurts because she was at the University of Alabama. Jalen Hurts is too. She said, man, I'm trying to watch the game. I said, wait a minute. You did all this research and, brain damage and tackle. I'm still going to watch the game. Get it done, Jalen Hurts. Get it done. Man, I remember that would stood out to a number of listeners. Like, what in the world? Like, with you, this is just black dudes running around beating their brain to death, and you still going to watch the Super Bowls? Fly, Eagles, fly, man. What you think I'm going to do with my Sunday? Said, right on, Dr. Wallace, right on. And we messed it up talking to you fools for the whole game. I'm trying to watch. Ooh. 2 times this Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. Brain damage, racism, and football. Let's see. Our caller at the courthouse with the gnomes, caller in Florida, should be with us as well.
Yes, sir. May I be heard?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Greetings to Gus, the host, the listeners and callers. Gus, speaking of the gnomes, it was another thing I noticed this week. I was coming into work, and with those gnomes that are placed at the front counter lobby, all of the gnomes were white, and they had one black gnome with brown. I guess I'll just say brown skin, supposed to reflect brown skin. And that gnome was directly in the middle, and all of the other gnomes were white gnomes. I guess they had just added that this week, whoever added that last week. And the next one was a customer who was trying to get her, I guess, copies from a old court case that she had, juvenile case, because she was trying to get a job at a prison, a jail or whatnot. And she said that whoever was in charge of doing her testing, she said that this person kept having to make her go get paperwork to get certified documents, and she said she already passed the test and she met the qualifications, and she started calling the guy a racist. Well, I suspect it's a white person. Says, there's so many racists in the world, and they just don't want a black person hired, a black person in this position or something, she said. And she had this badge on the side of her belt. I guess she was in some form of law enforcement, and she needed the papers to, I guess, confirm her test scores or whatever, to go along with her test scores, because she already passed, I guess, whatever test that they gave her. And she was saying, I'll get through it or something like that, because I'm Irish. She said, I'm Irish, an Indian. I am not. Okay? So she walked out, and I looked on the police report with this person's name on it, and they got her ex as a black person. They said black, and it had an X on it. So that's what she said before she walked out, and she was calling the person a racist. The next report is there was a black male that came in with a younger black male saying that he wanted to get copies of his juvenile record to show the younger black male to stay out of trouble, I guess, from what he was saying. So I printed that out and gave it to him. You know, because he really was like upset and kind of like, you know, emotional and everything about his child going to I guess like truancy court, things like that. Another report I like to share is so there's this white guy, right? And he's a sergeant. He's one of the sergeants for the sheriff's department in this county. So I've been walking past this guy. I mean, like, I really do think it's kind of like hiding in plain sight, a type of race soldier, because, you know, he'll be courteous and he'll speak or greet or whatever. But for over 2 years, this guy has had a lawsuit against the county, the sheriff's office, toward a black elected sheriff who was elected starting in 2021, like the day before January 6th, actually. So for 2 years now, this guy has had a lawsuit for discrimination, this white guy, and he's saying that the black sheriff discriminated against him, and he was passed over for positions of promotions because he is a white person. So I was reading through some of this like complaint and some of the case. I mean, it's very extended, and he actually goes into depth of naming 5 or 6 examples of black people being reassigned and given positions, and he's trying to make it seem like they aren't qualified or anything. And this person is being named as Caucasian in the paperwork, but the black people are named black.
Could I be
he's
so
not,
bold
he,
as to
he's
declare
not
that
being
what I thought
referred to as white in the court documents only but so often. So I came to the conclusion that he wasn't just filing this complaint because of himself as a white man. It looks like he was filing a complaint for other, they wanted to say Caucasian in the paperwork, but it's really other white sheriff officers that were under this Clovis Watson sheriff officer. Like, he was the elected sheriff from 2020, but he had some health issues, so he had to resign. So we have another black sheriff. So this white guy, he's been in the courthouse, and he's been having a lawsuit going on. So today, all this week really, they did everything from getting a jury or whatever, and doing this trial to where it looks like he actually won the trial, to where they have to pay him $15 million, I think I heard, So I'm not sure how that's going to even go, but I'm hearing that it was an all-white jury, so that's to be expected. But this is actually one of those race soldiers that wanted to make it look like Sheriff Watson is a racist or something like that, and it just didn't make any sense to me. But the fact that this person is a white person, I think he just unified with other white people and brought about this result. And I think the judge is a non-white person too. So, yeah, that just concluded today with this discrimination trial. And then it was even the recent black sheriff was saying no, he wanted to get this white guy fired because of what he was posting online and on his social media page. And he was saying, no, this is what I go through. I go through racism. So he said that on the trial, on the stand, the new sheriff now. So he wanted to fire this white dude. And the white guy, he ended up getting up there, crying, tears and everything. And the sheriff was up there crying, tears, emotional. But I just think they ended up believing the white guy a lot more. And then once again, I had to really come to the conclusion that this is a person that I was walking past almost every day. And one last thing was that they fired a white woman from out of the traffic department, also because of some social media inappropriate types of posts. And they waited for her to work through the day, and they got a couple of boxes, and they apparently escorted her out. And I heard that after she was gone, this white woman now, she had papers, and I think you just spoke about this, Gus, about how white people will go to, their the white friends and the hookups they have, the write letters and stuff, doctors and stuff. I thought about that, how they said this white woman had pre-written doctor's notes, and the desk drawer that she was using at her assigned desk. So, yeah, that's just a couple of updates that I like to share with everyone, and that's all I have to share. Thanks for allowing me to speak.
Wow, that is brand new for 2025. Like, wow, I have not heard everything. Fuller say, I am still learning. I was slow on the mouse jiggler too, so, but I got a stack of predated doctor's notes. Like, come on. I've never in my life, like, one, you would even have to be slow to even pick that up and read, like, oh, okay, she got, wait a minute, is that, she said she got, am I, it looked like, does it say she got, you're, Ted, come here. It looks like it says that Lucille has some sort of urinary tract infection, but it's dated for July 2026. Do you see? You see? Matter of fact, it's a whole stack. Look at this. Look. She got one. This one, it said she got menstrual issues. It is for February 2026. We got a whole rack of them for December 2025. What the she got predated doctor. Hey, how you gonna plan to have menstrual issues the whole month of December? Wait a minute. But I can't even. How many of you all, let's try this. How many of you all get a stack of fabricated doctor's notes and you think you could produce this in less than a month? We got anybody here? You got one. I didn't, because he said a stack. He didn't even say one. He didn't even say one. How many of you all got one predated doctor's note? I know. I just got an insurance card and I'm going to need, say I got a good round of tuberculosis. We're going to go, let's see, family reunion in July. Let's say summertime. Let's go 2 weeks in July. Got a good round of tuberculosis. 3 weeks. 3 weeks, case of tuberculosis. Got to be at home. Rest, no phone calls. How many of y'all got that already saved up? Got the notes stored? And then, I'm so brazen. I stash my predated doctor's notes, not in the glove box, not at home in the filing cabinet, at the desk at the job. Wow. Like, man. Gus T say, don't leave nothing. You don't have nothing at work that's not yours. It's not your desk, your property, your office. Like, nah. Matter of fact, teachable moment. If you got predated doctor's notes, do not ever take them to the workplace. The only doctor's note you take to the workplace is fully filled out, current. It's going to be used right now. Any other doctor's notes that you're going to need for future dates, all that is at home, locked away in the trunk of your vehicle, maybe, if you think you need to go and pull one of these right now and use it. Trunk of the car locked away, not visible, or at home. It is not. I mean, are you serious? Wow, what does it mean to be white? You got both spectrums. So you got white people who, I keep my predated doctor's notes in the workplace, and then I keep my gnomes in the workplace and year round. Even when they tell us to take them home because they're racist, I keep my gnomes in the workplace year round, and I strategically aim them at niggers who get on my nerves. Okay, got it. And see, that's what I said too. Nobody in the workplace is more gangster than white women. Who brought the gnomes? Who threw the orange juice in the face? Who got the click? On and on. Predated doctor's notes. That white woman, racist woman, is awesome on the plantation. Let's see. They got, he said that and they got a black gnome now. Because they said they were racist. See, I would put the black gnome out front, see. Oh, and that's probably Black History Month. They got Black History. Well, we got it all covered. And see, that's what I said. I don't know what would be the non-tacky decorations. The black gnome is not it. You got all the little Klan fellas set out everywhere and then paint one dark. And see, we not racist. Look at that. Then come put him on your desk prop. Like, nah, I'm good. Thank you. He's not supposed to be here either. He said that the black female, retract. Female came in and she was trying to get her juvenile case record, and she was trying to get a job, I guess greater confinement system, whatever. And she said that the folks are racist. Now that in and of itself is kind of, whoa. That's not too often, like, unless somebody's talking about Donald Trump, like, it is very rare to hear, at least for me, my experience, to hear a non-white person label someone as racist. Like, these folks are racist, and that's what it is. Like, wow. Okay. That is, let me not pussyfooting around about things. All righty. And she's going into, they just don't want me to have this job, and pointing to the badge that she's got and all that, which is probably totally true, especially if this job pays anything over like a quarter. You might have some sort of authority and that sort of thing. Like, absolutely not. We do not want you to have the same thing at the courthouse. If it's going to be any niggers at all, they need to be in the segregated section. But she, goes through all that, and they're being racist and all this, and somehow it's, I'm going to survive. I'm going to endure, and they don't even understand because I'm Irish and Indian. What? Like, what now? Hey, no argument. He's been telling us about the census training, right? And that's part of it. You fill out the list, so you don't argue. The folks say I'm Irish and Indian. Okay, that's a box. Okay. Mm-hmm. But the brains are like, what? Irish and Indian? What is? Maybe are they trying to keep you from this job because they said we don't like no Irish Indian mixed folks coming out here? I mean, if you was just Irish, that would be okay, or if you were just Indian, but you Irish Indian hybrids, we got enough of here. Beat it. We don't dig no Irish Indians. Maybe, I guess that could be, but he said the form he looked at, I just glanced down. I'm somewhat nosy and got the form. The form, it didn't say Irish Indian. Form, Negro. Victims guaranteed qualified, and you call people what you want to be called. But Fuller did talk about this exactly. He said, those racial classifications, we go to the post office, the courthouse, we're there for a half hour. Now I got a teaspoon of Indian, and uncle is Irish, and Mexican. See, I got a little bit of European there too, and I don't know. And checked everything but Negra. Done checked everything but Negra. Race soldier in there 30 seconds. White, and I'm gone. Pass the racist joke when they're looking at you too. Look at that Negra. Indian. Negra's white. And they leave. That's not mocking us, but I mean, woo, that is the fact of about where things are. Wow. I would have even been curious, like, is that how you're processing this in your brain computer, that they're mistreating you because you're Indian and Irish? Or is that just your, I'm going to get my moxie up. They think I'm just some old black female. I'm getting my call on my Indian Irish ancestors. Like, now maybe, maybe they got your back. Maybe they're going to pull you through all this. But, man. Victims of white supremacy, we are. Let's see. He said the fella came in and had presumably his child. Didn't they tell you all about that? Like, you can't be presuming that that's his son because you don't know now. That could have been, a child that he just found on the street, or someone he went to church with, or, child from the neighborhood. Maybe that's not even his son that he was, looking out for and wanting to. And so didn't they tell you to keep an open mind?
Yes, sir.
Got it. Gotcha. He said the fella came in, had the little victim, and wanted them to, stay out of trouble and do right. He wanted to get his juvenile record. I was thinking, stay in here long enough to watch them press the panic button. That could be you. Hey, could be us today. Matter of fact, even remember when he said it was a little fella, smaller than this fella here. Little fella was in there, and the white guard came and said, "Hey, what you doing? Been raping? You causing trouble? All right, got my. I think he was like 1 or 2 or something. He came on like, I might be panic button. I got my nigger naga. I'll get you. Don't think I won't now just because I club a child. Nigger child, that is. I club a child. So they did. Just come hang out here and you'll see. Keep messing up. Keep messing up. You see there? This could be you. You hear what he said? Guy might have to suck a penis, for things not to get bad. This could be you. Or even just sit long enough. Remember when the black fella came in? He was older too. And he said, hey, I'm having to, whoa, wait a minute, whoa, Jesus Christ, y'all, they got the guns on this. See that? He didn't even do nothing. He didn't say nothing. He wasn't looting. He wasn't raping. He just walked in. Nigger male. Tall. You live long enough. You might be tall. See there? Now keep acting up if you want to. Now imagine if he had been tall, black, came in here being loud, mischievous, pants hanging off his behind. Just come sit in the lobby for about 30, 40 minutes. We can learn a whole lot about racism. Why did you listen to the folks who work here? Pay attention. Now, see, they got all the black people piled up over here. Look at that. Look at that. Where are the white people at? Oh, wow. Wow. Why is that? Yes, why is that? Let's see. He said the fella filed a lawsuit and won it. I knew that's where that, once I got the gist of like, oh, he said that they practicing racism against him. Oh, yes, this white fella is fitting to win ever. 15 million. They not fitting to have no new staplers at the courthouse. Nothing. Like they gonna have a yard sale every other week and donation buckets every 15 million. Jesus. And I was even waiting, do not let me find out. This is some dude that's been on there and the January 6th hostages have been mistreated and man, we got to get Trump back. He's been on social media saying all this. Wait a minute. You violated the social media policy. You got to go. You're practicing racism against me. You're firing the white people and letting all these unqualified black people no, you violated the social media. But I'm a victim. He said the white fella got on. Weeping white man in 2025. Are you serious? Man, if you don't get some cleaner, before you get to tearing up on, getting lachrymose, what did you write on social media exactly? Dry it up and tell us about that right quick. Matter of fact, we got the screenshot. That's why I call in Florida when he has said, because his white coworkers, they do the same thing. Get on there and post pictures with their firearms and talking about they're the devil and President Trump, their support of President Trump and all the rest of that, where he said, I take screenshots. I go on there and just click, all that. These are public servants. They work at the courthouse and what have you, but then they go and have all these vile and racist things to say all the time. Capture all that. And again, that's why I say not to even be on social media. If you got white people who, get in trouble and all the rest of it for the things that they say on social media, you absolutely, as a non-white person, for sure, get in trouble. That's why I say I wouldn't be on there at all. Wouldn't be friends with anybody that you work with. I mean, friends in a social media context, white or non-white, I wouldn't be friends with them either. But that's why he takes all those screenshots. That becomes a part of your documentation. But it didn't mean nothing for this. 15 million. I'm a victim of racism. Hiring and promoting all his cousins and dark people, and I'm a white man. I'm a qualified white man. Leave me out. 15 million. All white jury. 15 million. Saying, dang, Sheriff Watson is a racist, and we got it on record. What? I am a victim of race. Look at his social media page. That. Beat it, beat it, beat it. Racist. Go and give him. Now we don't have no staplers at the courthouse. We got to pawn everything to pay $15 million. That is a disgrace. But I mean, you can watch those cases. I try to include those as we go in Neutralizing Workplace Racism. When those white people bring a case, it could be that white fella at the courthouse who is unprofessional and doesn't know how to talk to people. When they bring a case and say, I'm a victim of racism, man, I almost want to say 10 times out of 9, but it's not that quite high. But I mean, wow, they are super successful, meaning they normally get $15 million. Wow. Like, anyway, and she did get fired for social media. That's what the white woman, she didn't get fired for those pre-written notes. She got fired for her social media conduct, which again, I say, man, forget all of that, man. If you are, especially if you're a black person, if you think you might want to say something about, President Trump or anything, Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, white supremacy, racism, I would not be under your name. I would not be easily findable. I would not use social media at work, certainly not on any of the machines at work. If they give you a phone or a tablet or anything like that, I would never use any of my social media accounts on their devices. I wouldn't even, if I had my machine, I would not want to be on their network accessing my social media accounts. Do all that stuff, away from the workplace. I wouldn't want people looking over my shoulder to see what my account is and what I'm posting or what accounts I follow or anything of the sort. I would even tell them I don't use social media. I don't want to be followed and tracked and I feel some type of way about having all my information up there, because I think a lot of people at this point would accept that. But yeah, I wouldn't. If you use it, I'm not under my legal government name, so I'm not as easily findable, and then I'm not friends with anybody that I work with, white or non-white. As far as they know, I do not utilize social media. And then I would go and check your homies, the people that you work with. I shouldn't say homies, apologies, but I would go and check what they're up to. What do they write about? Do they have racist postings and all the rest of it? I would check. You might even find some material that could get them fired. Screenshot. But for sure, I've seen a number of white people don't get fired. They get transferred. This white woman, even with all that humiliation, and they cart her out with the boxes, and woe is her. He's talked before. They've had white women they transferred and went a few miles down the road to the other courthouse. I'm pretty sure she has white friends, white homies, probably some in that courthouse right there. They will have her back and make sure she is okay. She will get her another job and all the rest. You got qualified. That black female been there for 20 years and can't even get a promotion. I bet her behavior has been stellar on social media. She ain't been on there name calling folks and cursing out Al Sharpton. None of the above. Can't get a promotion. I'm sure she didn't just have one vile social media post. I'm going to take that wager. I could be wrong. Any hoodles. We will be here Saturday, Sunday, and I think Monday. As I'm looking forward, being live time with the Super Bowl, again promoting better use of time and energy. We got serious problems, way more important than the WNBA, NBA, Super Bowl, golf, any squash, pickleball, anything else you can think of. We have got serious problems. The system of white supremacy, racism. Let's get down to business. Much obliged to all of the folks participating, hopefully worthy of your Friday evening. And stay tuned, same time every day as we proceed, hopefully constructive for Black History Month. Sobriety would be best. We need our brain computer and all of it to get this here problem solved, and immediately. And especially for Black History Month, don't let them try and con you. And the Super Bowl is coming up too. I hadn't even thought about that. They'll probably have sobriety checkpoints out, because white people know all the, parties that they promote and alcohol that they promote over this weekend, the parties probably start this evening, especially if you're closer to where the game is. Man, sobriety would be best. If you got to attend a so-called football party over the weekend, one, be alert, because sometimes those break out into fisticuffs and violence, and I got to stab somebody and all the rest of it. So I would be alert. If you gotta go, alcohol and white people is always a bad combination, and sometimes having a whole lot of non-white people who are under the influence, that can be a lethal combination as well. So if you have to go, one, be aware of that, and I would identify the exits immediately. If anything happens, out of there, and try be alert so that you become aware. They are not cheering about Pat Mahomes. Matter of fact, it looked like they might have put some money on Pat Mahomes, and the Eagles might win this thing. Like, we got to leave early. They might get to, which does happen, especially if you had a little too much tequila and you wager too much. Like, oh man, be alert. And this all started, I said, sobriety, not about the fisticuffs at the party, which is a real threat. I said this about John Law on the road after the game when you try to transport yourself to your residence. Sobriety would be best. Maybe if you got to watch the game, if you got to do alcohol, you should watch the game at your residence. That way you don't have to go anywhere. If you got to consume alcohol, the party should be someplace where you can stay overnight, and that way you can wake up the next day, be sober, maybe even take your clothes for work so you can leave, shower, leave, and go directly to work and start your day. As opposed to you got to go home and all that other crazy, or take the day off and then you just get up and go home refreshed. That might even be best, because you see, that's one, you get that pre-written doctor's note. February 10, tell them, got a little bit of hay fever. Yes, got a little teaspoon of the hay fever. I'm going to need a day, maybe two, to pontificate, watch the Eagles parade. Get more sleep. Yes. Watch the Chiefs parade. Get more rest. Yes. Take my vitamins. Get my fluids. Pat Mahomes signed paraphernalia. And I'll be back on Tuesday. Maybe Wednesday. Yes. Use your pre-written doctor's note. If you got to consume alcohol, take the day off. Most importantly, do not be out on that road Sunday evening intoxicated. That is a huge no-no. Creator, we ask that you help us remain patient with other black people, victims of white supremacy. We ask that you help us remain patient with ourselves. Remind us to demonstrate the highest levels of black self-respect at all times, in all places, each and every time we are in contact with another black person. It has been time. Replace white supremacy with justice immediately. No name-calling black people. Even what about the black people that steal your ideas in the workplace? No name-calling black people. What about black people that renege on what they promised? No name-calling black people. What about black people that I really despise? No name-calling black people. 30 days for Mr. Fuller. 30 days for Mr. Fuller. We're going to get to March 5. 30 days, no name-calling. Even the lamest, sorriest, no-count black people. 30 days, we're going to give them. Hey, maybe we try name calling white people for 30 days, maybe? Fuller did say no name calling, so that's not a good trade, but just, you know, because we don't seem to name call nobody but black people. So I was just thinking that if you got to do some name calling, I mean, hey, the people that are most worthy of name calling are classified as white, so we could think of some other names for the cracker in the meantime. But hey, we don't have to do no name calling at all. At least no name calling of black people for Fuller's sake. No gossiping was also in the 10 stops if we got a little extra counter-racist effort. No throwaway offspring. Cow signing out. Thanks all for tuning in.
Nigga, you so brainwashed. I'm a victim, brother. Problem. You're a victim. Yeah. I'm a victim of 400 years of conditioning. Shut up. The man has programmed my condition. Even my conditioning has been conditioned.